Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another round of the CMS Porsche Cup Series presented by Penguin RC Simulation and Champion Motorsports. This is David Anderson here on this Sunday morning in early May, and we are on the track in qualifying as our drivers are getting ready to do a 30-minute fixed setup race here at the famed circuit in France. And we're on board with Blake Reynolds in the Penguin RC car right now as he is out qualifying to lay down a lap here as we'll start to set the order. We have a field of about 20 drivers this morning. And speaking of Blake Reynolds in the Penguin RC car, we also want to thank Penguin RC, our title sponsor for the series, Penguin RC Simulation. Check them out on the internet as well as social media. Great set of RC products as well as simulation racing products as well, or sim racing, if you will. So some great stuff from Brian Sohn and his team, and super excited to have them on board with us to bring this series to everybody. This is starting of the festivities, if you will, here at Champion Motorsports for what we call IRTES, which is our iRacing Team Endurance Series, and we start 2 weeks ahead of time with the Support Cup race here this morning that you're seeing with the Porsche Cup cars, and then 2 weeks from today we will be back here at this same track for our endurance team-based racing series with 3 different classes of multi-class sports car racing. So super excited about it, and all the things that kind of come along with this. So should be a really fun way to get us started. So as the drivers are getting out here and getting some laps in, we will take a quick minute to kind of recap where we're at here through a few races in our championship standings and things of that nature. So this is round 4 of the championship series to date, and we are now riding along with Michael Parker in the number 23 car. Michael is our points leader in the series, and really excited for the progress that he's been able to make here so far early on as he gets a lap in on the board, and I'll give you an update in real time, provisionally on the pole right now. So Michael Parker has the fastest lap time at the moment of 401.309, so backing up that championship lead that he has. He's about a second faster than Blake Reynolds right now, who we were just riding on with a quick moment ago. So taking a look at the standings, our top 10 in points coming into today, we've got Michael Parker with an 18-point lead over Tristan Martz. Brian Cebolinski is in 3rd position. Edward Nelson 4th. Blake Reynolds in 5th. Brian Sohn in 6th. Chad Dick in 7th. Joe Stifel 8th. John Taylor Tammy, or JT Tammy, in 9th, and Mark Johnson is in 10th position. So we've had 3 races so far in the books. As I mentioned, this is round 4. Michael Parker has won at both Daytona and Fuji, and then we had a win from DJ Alessandrini in the middle of those 2 races at Laguna Seca. We have I believe an 8, maybe 9 race season. I'm going to check that here in real time for you all. It is actually 8 race season. So we will be here at Lemans marking the halfway point, and then we'll be at Twin Ring, Motegi, Spa, Road America, and Watkins Glen to round things out here. So pretty exciting, and excited to be a part of it. Here's David Nelson, currently in 4th position. Really solid qualifying run for David in his bright yellow Penguin RC livery Porsche Cup car. Solid run for David. I know that looking at the Discord this week, he's been putting in a lot of laps here, getting excited about this race. The drivers have 10 minutes to get to get 2 private qualifying laps in. So as I'm showing you the drivers on the track, they are in what we call private qualifying. So they're out here by themselves on the track, but I'm able to kind of see where they're all at in real time. And boy, 10 minutes is just barely enough time to get 2 laps in. I don't know that you can really even get 2 laps in. Really kind of have to kind of get that first lap and hope that it's enough. Current standings right now in the qualifying order as we continue to ride along with David is we've got Michael Parker on the pole, Blake Reynolds on the front row outside, Mark Johnson in 3rd position, Brian Sohn in 4th, and this gentleman, David Nelson, in 5th. And I think David's going to get this second lap in here. See if he's able to move up a little bit. He's coming through the Porsche curves right now. Still has about 1 minute and 40 seconds to be able to get in what he needs to. See if he's able to move up at all. Brian Sohn in 4th position. Brian has completed his qualifying. So David needs a... Boy, he's got an identical time, actually, a 4:04.403, tied with Brian Sohn for the first lap. Let's see if he can jump up a little bit. And he does. David moves all the way up to 3rd position. A lot of shuffling happening here right at the end. Blake Reynolds has overtaken the pole, so he got in with a 358.894. Michael Parker ends up in 2nd position. Edward Nelson in 3rd. David Nelson in 4th. No relation there that I'm aware of. Tristan Martz in 5th. Gabriel Albano 6th. Brian Sebelinski 7th. James Andrew 8th. Rob Campbell 9th, and Joe Stifel 10th. So even though we were riding along with David Nelson there, we saw a little bit of shuffle and some change there in the order right at the end, with Blake Reynolds taking the pole away from Michael Parker right at the end there. And that is going to be an interesting story to follow as we get ready to go out on the track here, because what we saw in the race last time at Fuji was Michael Parker really having to hold off Blake at the end in that event to be able to take the win, his 2nd in the series. So expecting a really, really good race between those 2 up front, and kind of have a feeling that whichever one of them can kind of get out and lead us through the Dunlop curves and down into Mulsanne that first time and through that chicane is probably going to have a pretty good shot at winning this race, as long as they can kind of keep it out front and break the draft and those sorts of things. So cars should be lining up here any second. And we're seeing them now get on the grid. And our pace car, we have an abbreviated lap here. We've got a field of exactly 20 cars race here this morning. And we are live, as you know, here on Twitch, so hopefully if anyone is out there and you want to check in with us this morning and chat it up with me or ask any questions while I'm here bringing you the race, I'd be happy to do so. Everybody is in an equal setup here, so we're all in equal setups, equal machines. Nobody has an advantage in that regard. one driver to the next. We're using the iRacing baseline fixed setup at this track this week, and we do a fixed setup in every race. And boy, is it not just beautiful. Look at the cars coming down here on this formation lap. And just beautiful weather here at Le Mans. 76 degrees Fahrenheit ambient temperature. That's actually the track temperature. A little cooler, so just a great day to take in what should be a really good race. As you see the cars kind of lining up here, getting 2x2 as we go down into the Porsche curves. And we are super excited to be able to bring you not only this race, but also the iRacing Team Endurance Series here at Le Mans in a couple of weeks. This is a staple in our series. You can count on us running this track every year, every season. And so we will be excited to continue to do that and just kind of honor the history that this great track has. And I want to say Albert from the SimRacing PR team won this race last year. He is not here today, but his teammate Miguel Colon, the defending series champion from the support series, is here today. However, only in 17th position qualifying-wise, so really a tough lap for Miguel. We'll have to see if we can figure out what happened there, but uncharacteristically way back in the field for Miguel, so may have come in with very little practice or ability to prepare. But that's okay. Okay, pace car pulls off. We're coming through the final chicane, and we're going to get a green flag. Looks like they're just front lining up here. Here we go. Blake Reynolds will go down into turn one with a little bit of an advantage over Parker. Parker's going to fight him on the outside. Everyone nice and clean in the back. I think Parker could end up having position here, going down in here to this left-hander. Blake's going to stay with it. It's like Michael with a little bit of advantage. They're going to go again to the left down here. I think Michael might be able to have kind of that preferred line and position going into the completion of Sector 1, and he does. Parker clears Blake Reynolds to take the lead here early. We'll have to see if Blake can get onto the Mulsanne straight and draft back by him. All right, here they go. Blake's going to have an opportunity. Michael's going to try to make his car very, very, very wide. Everybody fanning out behind him. Clean start to the race, which is really good. Blake's going to have position here going down into the chicane. Michael's able to stay in front of him. Edward Nelson hanging with the two of them in third. Looks like we've got a crash in the back. That's Mike Tyler. Let's see what happens here. Oh, contact. Oh, and Tyler is into the wall. Doesn't look like a ton of damage to his car, but Tyler having to get back out there as they race down the second of the long two Mulsanne straights. Reynolds now on the inside. He's kind of managed to do a switch over here with Parker. Still think Parker's going to have the position here he needs. Ooh, a switch back. Wow. While they're side by side, Edward Nelson is getting up there showing his nose. He wants in this battle. David Nelson as well. Folks, I have a feeling this is going to be what we see. See Chad Dick checking in on the chat. Chad, anyone else out there? I think this is what we're going to see all day here. Oh, Michael Parker is slow. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm going to rewind in real time. I looked over at the chat, and Parker had some sort of a problem, maybe a slowdown. Let's just go back in real time here. It's off the pace. I'm slowing down and going backwards. I was looking at the chat. It looks like maybe a little bit of contact. I think it was a slowdown, maybe. Maybe a slowdown he had to clear. Fell all the way back to 8th position, and everyone just goes around him. And in that sequence of events, Edward Nelson, and that's what I'm thinking as well. Yeah, slowdown in Bullard there. Boy, what a terrible penalty. Because that's put him way back in the field now, dropped all the way back to 8th position, and as short as this race is, and with the fixed setup, I think these cars are not going to be separated by much the entire race. We're going to see them drafting each other from the beginning to the end of this thing. And some comments from Chad out on the chat. Chad, of course, we miss you not being able to be here, but sounds like you're outside doing something fun, which is really, really cool. And yeah, that penalty for Parker is really challenging because that costs you 10 or 15 seconds to, especially if you have to abruptly, recover from that. So, and Parker now is actually in last place in the pits. So there's more to this story. I'm thinking that maybe he must have some sort of way gotten some damage on his car or had some sort of a technical failure. But this is a huge development because he is our points leader and being chased by this man, Tristan Martz, in 4th position in the race, but in 2nd position in the points in this blue, sort of light blue car. So we could see this favor Tristan to be able to dig into that 18-point gap. And I'm going to check and see. Parker is back on the track now. Here he comes, finally out of the pits. And, yeah, it wouldn't have been an issue where he loaded a wrong setup or anything like that because we're in a fixed setup baseline. So I'm thinking that he must have gotten some damage, maybe took a curb really hard, got some underbody damage. That can happen in these cars. I'm thinking it was more than the slowdown because he had to get off the line, and we're going to have to hear what he has to say about that later, but he finds himself now in a lot of trouble in this race. So that is a shame. Also, at the same time, Blake Reynolds has fallen back to 10th position. So Blake Reynolds looks like had an issue. Let's go back here and watch Blake. Also slow. I think damage. I've got to think that what we're dealing with here with these two is there was a little bit of contact between them coming out of Bullard there, and I'm thinking that they had to have maybe both damaged their cars because now both of them have fallen out, and that has kind of set the way for a group of new drivers, if you will, to have an opportunity to win this race. So let's count it down. I'm going to go from top to bottom here. Let's count down kind of what's happening here in the race so far. So Edward Nelson has managed throughout all of this to get out to about a 1.6 second lead. That's him you see here ahead of the chasing pack of cars. So a little bit of a comfortable lead here now for Edward, and may, if he can get out just a little bit further, might even have the opportunity to break the draft from the cars behind him. Shane Norton with the Dog Bear Racing Team is in 2nd position, and David Nelson is in 3rd in that bright yellow Penguin RC windshield bannered car. Tristan Martz is in 4th position in this blue, light blue pickup, and we talked about the significance of this because Tristan came in 2nd place in the points in the standings so far, And with Michael Parker currently being in last place in the race, we're going to see that gap cut way down. And I mean, it could even be, depending on what Parker's able to do, that we leave here with a new points leader in Tristan Martz if he's able to stay kind of in this 4th, 5th position or better. So Martz off to a strong start. He has not won a race yet in the series, but has been super, super consistent. And that's a really good thing. Bodes well over consistency like that in a series like this for sure. Mark Johnson just behind. Actually, we have seen a position battle change. JT Tammy, it looks like my apologies. That is a lapped car in between them here. But this is Mark Johnson in the Longhorn car that we are with now. Kind of get a close up here, and they're going around a lapped car. The 213 is Gabriel Bono, and he is not lapped, but Gabriel has actually been moving up and kind of inserting himself into this. So Mark Johnson in 5th here. That is Gabriel Bono just behind him. JT Tammy right behind him. So that's kind of the way things are looking up front. Blake Reynolds seems to be going again here in 8th position after his issues. So, wow, wild start to this one for sure. And that is Miguel Colon just ahead of him. Miguel Colon in 7th position, started way back in the field, but has managed to move himself up quickly. So Miguel, another driver, always a force to be reckoned with here. As we're already about a third of the way through this race. It's not going to be very many laps here in 30 minutes. We're going to see probably it's about a 4-minute lap, so do the math on that. We're going to be about 7 or 8 laps for the race. Miguel Colon's livery always looking so great. Those classic colors from the SimRacing PR team. Looking really solid here, having a nice run. Pace for the front runners seems to be around about 4 minutes to 4:02. That's kind of what we're seeing. Blake Reynolds has been able to get back around Miguel Colon. So whatever issues that Blake had, you can now see that he's overcome those. Ooh, a little bit loose for Blake coming off the corner there, so you can tell he is really, really pushing. Oh, and a car around in the back behind them. It looks like it was Gabriel Bono. Let's see what happens here. Looks like he's going to catch a little bit of grass and curb. Hits the wall and goes inside, nudging the wall. Don't think that's going to be a meatball for him. Seems to be going again. Car seems to be okay through the Porsche curbs here for Gabriel. We'll see if he pulls into the pits. Does not look like he will come to the pits, so he's okay. Let's check in back up front while this is going on. Edward Nelson still with a pretty comfortable lead, about a 1.5-second lead over Shane Norton right now and David Nelson. So we could absolutely see a new winner in the series this week if this stays the way that it is now. And that would really be cool because, of course, we like to see see that type of thing any opportunity we get. And Edward Nelson is, also quietly in 4th position in the points, so has been really strong in his own right. So any sort of a win, if he's able to keep this together, would be huge for him. Shane Norton in 2nd position has only been in one other race this season, so he's not a contender in the points. David Nelson currently sits in 14th position in the points. He's been in 2 of the first 3 races. So really the man to benefit the most here is likely to be Edward Nelson. And then, of course, we talked about Tristan Martz in that 4th position, under a lot of pressure right now from Mark Johnson. So see Mark Johnson right behind him. Let's ride on board, if we can, with Mark Johnson as he chases Tristan Martz. Mark is really, really good in these cars, really smooth. And being really smooth in these cars helps. And just as I say that, JT Tammy goes inside Mark Johnson for a positional pass. So nice move there by JT Tammy. And I think the driver's continuing to use the ability to draft here some. We'll see if Mark makes a move back on JT. He's going to think about it. They head down in here towards Indianapolis, having to get out of it a little bit. These cars are very twitchy. Can be a handful under high speed. What a great view, though, watching here from Mark Johnson. And not a lot of separation up front here. I mean, I still think that from about Mark Johnson, even Blake Reynolds, who's a couple of seconds back behind these guys forward here, we could really see anybody win this race. So I don't think Edward Nelson by any stretch is in a position where he can be comfortable. We see Edward come out of the Porsche curves and under heavy chase from Shane Norton, David Nelson, Tristan Martz. And they'll come through the final set of chicanes here. Such an important section of the track to be smooth through. Let's check in on a couple other drivers that we haven't talked about yet this morning. Here's a good battle going on between Rob Campbell and Joe Stifel. I think this is Rob's first race with us in the series, so in the purple car here, or hot pink car. So welcome to Rob, and thanks for joining us. Great, livery on his vehicle. And then, of course, we love the Joe Stifel machine as well. Kind of a classic IMSA type paint scheme. And the two of them having a really, really strong race here together. This is in the 8th night. And I see Mark Johnson here has had an issue. I'm going to go back here and see what happens with Mark. Oh, that's Blake Reynolds. Oh, and Mark spins. Let's go back and watch this in real time. Blake Reynolds off horribly. And then you can see kind of in the foreground, Mark Johnson just spins. Johnson. Here it is again. I don't know what happened there. This kind of happened out of the corner of my eye while we were talking about Joe Stifel and Rob Campbell. And now Johnson is back there between them. So, wow. Let's take a quick peek at another good battle on the track here. This is Brian Sohn and Brian Sabalinski in 11th and 12th position battling here. Both of these drivers have been in every race so far this season and been solid. I don't think either of them will be real happy with the positions they're in right now in this race, but you know, the way that things are going, they certainly might have the opportunity to kind of get back up there. We ride along here with our leader, Edward Nelson, and he is under heavy chase now. It's and another David Nelson is off behind them. See what happened here. Just a brake lockup. Gets on JT Tammy. Oh, David was having such a solid run. And these cars it's easy to lock the brakes in these things, and that's what happened. He was trying to stay off JT Tammy and just had that brake lock. Doesn't look like really any damage. But while all this has been happening, you know, Edward Nelson, you know, while continuing to lead, he's under quite a bit of pressure here now from Shane Norton. This is Shane Norton in P2. And both of these drivers are going to have to be careful, because if they get to battling hard, then they're going to let JT Tammy, Tristan Martz, Miguel Colon right back in this thing, who are a couple seconds behind them. So this is going to be super interesting to see how this shakes out. He is all over him now. Look at this. Shane is all over Edward. We may see a move down in here into the first corner, side by side, and you can see they're letting the other guys get back in the race behind them. Here we go. We're going to have a new leader. I think Shane Norton has edged out front. And he does, completes the pass, and we have a new leader, folks, here at Lemans. Yeah, tiger hunting a lunatic. That was exactly when we were looking back at Rob Campbell and Joe Stifle. Joe Stifle in the Tiger car. This is a comment on Twitch. And Rob Campbell in the clown-based car. But new leader here. Less than 10 minutes to go in the race. Shane Norton out front. And seems to be driving away here from Edward Nelson, so trying to break that draft. Always makes for such an exciting race here at Le Mans, and especially when you're in identical equipment like this. It's just amazing. And again, we want to thank the folks at Penguin RC for helping put this together. They have got a phenomenal prize package for our drivers. We're going to have some great giveaways and some merchandise credit from them. And it's just going to be really, really cool to award some cool stuff from both CMS as well as Penguin RC at the end of the 8 races in this series. We've got some incentives for, you know, where you finish, as well as how clean you drive and those types of things. So, you know, it's interesting. You know, and following again with Chad Dick and some of the others here on the Twitch chat, you know, could be a situation here where, you know, although Edward Nelson doesn't want to get cute, but, you know, he may have kind of let, if there's such a thing, to let Shane Norton get out front and lead so that he can be in that catbird seat to draft, you know, to maybe try to do the slingshot at the end of the race. But I tell you what, with both of them, they can't be goofing around here, because Blake Reynolds is coming. And he has now moved back into P3 after a couple of different issues in the race. And he's coming. I mean, I think he is obviously the fastest car on the track. He's got a 3-minute, 58-second lap time to the 4-minute flat of the other drivers. So if he can get up there and have an opportunity, he is certainly going to make himself a contender for the win here. And of course, JT Tammy just behind him is no slouch of his own in his own right. So I think that these two guys up front cannot be just thinking about each other. These other guys are going to have something to say about it, and I think we could see a situation where we have one or more lead changes in this race before the end of this thing is over with. And I think we're gonna do 2 laps at the line here. There's about 6.5 minutes left in the race, so I think we will see 2 laps remaining when they take the start-finish line this time by. JT Tammy all over Blake Reynolds. Tristan Martz and Miguel Colon just behind them. Shane Norton with a nice little lead out in front of these cars. And look, JT Tammy's going to go down on the inside of Blake Reynolds. And JT Tammy continuing to show some muscle here in this Champion Motorsports livery. Love to see JT sporting our community logos and colors on his car. And last year's overall Porsche Cup champion. Would be great to see him with an opportunity to get back in victory lane. He was our North American champion and our overall combined champion for the entire Porsche Cup set of events last season, whereas Miguel Colon was the champion in just the IRTES International Support Series races. So, man, what great racing here at Le Mans. If this is a preview of what we're going to see going into the IRTES race in a couple of weeks, it is going to be phenomenal. All right, Blake Reynolds is going to have an opportunity here now to get back by JT Tammy. And as this has happened, you can see Tristan Martz and Miguel Colon are in this battle as well. Let's actually get on board with Miguel Colon here and just watch this as he takes all this in. Where does he go here? What does he do? He knows he's got to get around these guys. Miguel Colon arguably having the best race of anybody. He's up from kind of starting in the rear, and he's up in P6. And you know, I know a driver like Miguel. As we ride along with him here, he's thinking, I want to win this thing. And you know, I didn't come here to finish 6th. So, but now's the time to start making the moves. So here he is. It's like, what do you do? You know, he's thinking about it now. Where do I go? What do I do? Everybody's spanning out. I'm going to make the move on Blake, is what he says. Go down here and send it in on the left. And he's going to clear Blake Reynolds. That moves Miguel up to 5th. Now he's got Tristan Martz in front of him. JT Tammy ahead of them. So we have not seen the end of this thing, folks. 6 cars. Any one of them can win it. Here they are. Absolutely the most exciting race so far of the season, I think. It is going to be a wild finish. We got, and as Chad says, I'm enjoying Chad's commentary. We got a penguin, we got a bear, we got a stag, and a little bit of everything in here on a fight to the finish. So, it's Miguel Colon now making another move. He's going around Tristan Martz. So Miguel Colon making 2 moves on this lap. Tristan's having no part of it. Miguel gives him a little bit of a bumper. Little bit of a bumper. Just enough to show him he was there. And Miguel Colon makes the pass. Wow. And folks, they are having an equally important positional battle behind these guys, but I cannot leave the lead here. We just can't leave this. I'm almost thinking you want to be Shane Norton. You know, I know he's the one who is the most vulnerable probably, but he's also the one in the lead. as he comes around through the exit of the Porsche curves, going to come down here to the final chicanes and get ready to get into our white flag lap. This should be the white flag. 1 minute 50 seconds timed left on the race. JT Tammy has now moved into second position. Miguel Colon is up to third. It may be a two-car race here between Tammy and Norton. The others are a little further back. They're about a second and a half back behind these guys. Here comes Miguel. He's trying to insert himself as that third car into this thing. I think that's about as far back as we're going to see a winner from. It's going to be one of these top three. Never rule out Blake Reynolds, though. My goodness. All right, here they go. All the way down the Mulsanne. What will JT Tammy do here? He's looking. Not going to make the move here. He's going to wait. Needs to get a good exit through here. And he does. I like JT's run through here. Shane protecting that inside line, protecting the inside. JT. Is he going to get around him? He does. Wow, it's almost like... And what happened? I've missed something. Shane Norton has had an issue. I got to go back and see it. Here it is. As I was in the cockpit, Shane Norton took damage or ran out of gas or something. Maybe he took a DQ. What in the world? And Miguel Colon now has gotten in front of JT Tammy. Holy cow. Here comes JT fighting back. Fighting back. JT side by side. Final lap at Lemans. Our two champions from last year, side by side. Look at these men. Neither one of them are going to give it up. These are our two champions from last year. Miguel, the IRTES Support Series winner. Blake Reynolds trying to get himself into this thing in third position. JT Tammy was the overall winner from the North American Series and the Support Series races combined. These were our two best drivers last year, and neither one of them has been to victory lane this year. Miguel Colon, can he do this? Starting way in the back of the field today. We were worried about him. I think he rolled off in about 17th position. Here comes JT. They touch. They're into the Porsche curves. This is it. Miguel making his car wide. JT's going to have one more shot at him down this little straightaway. Miguel just needs to get through the chicane close. Here comes JT. He's going to look to maybe send it. Miguel cuts him off. It's a little wide. JT Tammy locks in. They lock and they touch. And Blake Reynolds. Blake Reynolds is going to take the win. No. Tristan Martz. Wow. Tristan Martz takes the win at Lemans. We got to back this up. I've got to back this up, and we got to watch this whole thing play out. Holy cow. I'm going to just rewind this. So much happened here. I think Blake Reynolds may have had a slowdown Let's just watch. We're going to watch this from the purview, from a couple different angles of Tristan Martz. He's in 4th position. And look, Cologne and Tammy, this is where it starts. They go to banging. Tammy sends it in. They lock. They touch. And then something happens with... He slows down. Blake Reynolds slows down as almost as if he gifts the win to Tristan Martz. But I'm thinking he may have had a slowdown. And Tristan Martz is our winner at Le Mans. What a terrific win for him, and a terrific race. And you know, that was just going for it all there at the end between Tammy and Cologne. And I'm gonna go back. One more time to that. Here it is. Tammy he gets in there, sends it, locks the brakes. That's just hard racing for a win. And then as that happens, I want to see what happens here from Tristan Martz's, from Blake Reynolds' purview. I'm going to rewind here to Blake, and let's see what happens with him. I don't know. He just comes here to the end and he just sort of stops. As Tammy just waddles across the finish line. So what a terrific battle in the race. I just can't get over it. So, all right, let's start wrapping things up here in this one, and I'll do a full field rundown. So 19th position, Mike Tyler. We saw Mike with some issues there, and that was just absolutely crazy of a finish. I'm still trying to get over it. But Mike Tyler, we saw some issues in the at the beginning of the race, made some contact with another car. Looked like it was really not Mike's issue, and he finished in 19th position. Christian Rava actually was in 20th position behind Mike. He did not take the checkered flag, or the green flag, I should say. Jacques Ricard in 18th position. Shane Norton, I'm showing, ended up finishing in 18th position. Warren McGrary. So Shane Norton, wow. What a disappointment for him. He had everything going his way there on the last lap, and fell to the end of this thing. I don't know what happened there. Warren McGrary 17th, Billy Massengale 16th, Brian Sohn 15th, Michael Parker 14th, Gabriel Albano, then James Andrew, Mark Johnson, Joe Stifel, David Nelson, Blake Reynolds, Edward Nelson, Brian Sabolinski, JT Tammy, Miguel Colon, Tristan Martz. It looks like some guys may have gotten, all this is very unofficial, and it may not even be right for me at this point. But we're going to have to sort all this out. But it does look like our winner was Tristan Martz, Miguel Colon in second, JT Tammy third, Brian Sabolinski fourth. So I have to sort out kind of some of the post-race penalties potentially that were issued by the game. Could have been a combination of slowdowns, some DQs, because you could only do 17 incidents here in the race. But just a phenomenal race. I enjoyed calling it. I'm still trying to gather myself after watching the end of that thing. So I tell you what, we talked about Michael Parker having issues at the beginning. We still don't know exactly what happened with him, with that contact with Blake Reynolds. But Michael had a tough race, and boy, Tristan Martz, not only did he take advantage of it, he won the race. So I think we are very likely to see him on top of the points here leaving at Le Mans. So, all right, for now, we're going to go ahead and call this one a day. I want to thank our sponsors at Penguin RC. I want to thank all of the drivers. And again, a couple of reminders. 2 weeks from today, will be back here at Le Mans and the iRacing Team Endurance Series. That same week, on the Wednesday preceding the big race, we will have our GT3 Sprint Series also here at Le Mans. And if either of those two races are anything like what we just saw here in the Porsche Cup race, we are in for a treat, and I just cannot wait to bring it to you all. So, to Chad and the others that were out on chat watching, thanks for tuning in with me this morning. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I'm going to have to go back and watch this one again, just set in my recliner and pop some popcorn. It was so good. It's worth watching a second time. All right, I'm going to sign off. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and we will see you here at CMS out on the track. Take care.